Poison the water supply. I'm gonna poison the water supply. For gold, for ransom, for jewels, for money.
Welcome to Second Class Cinema, the show where we watch a B movie and immediately discuss. I'm Tom. I'm here with Eric and Brittany.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello, Eric and Brittany.
Hi.
I would like to be referred to as one of your rippers from now on.
One of my rippers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thomas and the Rippers.
All right. Very appropriate name for the colleagues on the show here, because we watched 1986's Never Too Young to Die, starring John Stamos.
Yes.
Yes. Of Jesse and the Rippers fame.
Yes.
That's the one. Also in this movie, we had
Gene Simmons.
We had Gene Simmons and George Lazenby.
Yes.
I was like, why does that guy look so familiar?
Makes a lot of sense. So, Eric, this was your pick this week.
Yeah.
And it's your birthday.
Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday to you.
We're allowed to sing that on the air now.
We are, and we're not gonna. Not today.
That's the beauty of it.
Not today. That's as far as we're going. So what was this movie about?
Okay, so this movie was about Gene Simmons as a hermaphrodite named Ragnar, who is leading a group of Mad Max-type road warriors in the desert, and he wants to capture a disc called the Ram Key, which will allow him to divert nuclear waste into the water supply of the city that they're in. He is nearly foiled by George Lazenby, who's some sort of secret agent. Never happened before. And George Lazenby is caught and killed, and his son, Lance Stargrove, who is a gymnast in college, finds about his death and eventually follows in his footsteps to foil Ragnar.
And Lance Stargrove is played by John Stamos.
Yes.
So that's fantastic news. So why?
It is fantastic.
So why did you pick this movie?
I just happened, I came across this, like a synopsis of this movie on like some message board. I can't even remember where or why I kind of came across it. But I saw the casting list, and then I saw the description of the movie, and I said that we had to watch it because it seemed like it would be perfectly up our alley. And in my head, I was expecting Gymkata 2, and I think we got it.
I think you're right. And speaking of Gymkata, I would like to, before we move on, ask you guys a question.
Shoot.
So, who is the better gymnast turned action hero? John Cabot, Gymkata, or Lance Stargrove, Never Too Young to Die?
Well, saying that John Stamos would be some sort of gymnast martial artist would be giving him way too much credit.
Gymnast turned action hero.
True.
Well, he was a better action hero, but the other guy was a better gymnast.
Well, that's clear. The other guy was an actual Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah.
And John Stamos had a stunt double.
Who was pretty good at gymnastics.
I'll give them credit, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, okay, fine.
And John Stamos didn't need appropriately placed pommel horses in order to do his action hero stuff. So I think John Stamos is the superior action hero.
He, in fact, hardly used his gymnastics at all.
Correct.
During his ass kickery.
Barely at all, if at all. Maybe once, maybe twice.
I mean, he hung off some stuff. That's about it.
Yeah, it was way more practical uses of gymnastics for helping you save the day as opposed to completely using it.
Fucking pommel horse. Haunts my dreams.
A nice pre-chalked pommel horse in the middle of this European town.
Okay, you clowns, cut the crap.
Anyway, so let's get into successes for this movie, guys. Let's start with those. Eric, you look like you've got something to say.
I thought the casting was awesome.
All right. I can agree with that.
Specifically, I thought Gene Simmons was inspired. And I've seen him act before. I've seen him in, like, I think he was in an episode of Miami Vice, and he was very unimpressive. And this would have been around that same time, so I'm kind of wondering if he was just directed poorly in that episode. Because in this, he is a fucking crazy person.
Yeah.
And he does an amazing job of it.
He really does.
Totally agree.
Oh, yeah. He's like super Tim Curry-ish.
Oh, yeah.
He was like Frankenfurter meets Marvelous Mervo.
Dude,
Yes, that is a perfect way to describe it.
Marvelous Mervo of Blood Harvest, played by Tiny Tim.
Like at the beginning, as soon as he started talking in that like weird sing-songy voice, I was
my
like,
God.
"This is Tiny Tim."
What was his first line? My little turd balls.
And scum buckets, and everyone was like applauding.
Turd balls, turd balls, turd balls. This is the first 10 seconds of the movie.
Yeah, we were pretty much in. Right
There was
from the-
so much terminology in this movie that I did not understand.
For instance,
Well, I felt like they tried to make like their own little language as the way that these punk kids talk, and like when they were like garbage him,
Oh yeah, I like that.
and then
I
instead of
did.
saying search him, they were like up and down him. I was like, this is forced.
It was forced, but I did still like it.
I liked the garbage him.
And then
line.
And then later in the movie, Gene Simmons like rattled off the list of insults. I can only assume they were insults. I'm pretty sure the only thing I heard was turvy warblers. But it was like a string of like just obscenities like that.
forgot about that.
And I was like, this is very weird.
It's
I
very
don't know if it was trying to do like its own little Clockwork Orange,
yeah.
Mad Max type thing.
Yeah, it definitely had like its 2 sec. It had reality, and then it had like this weird motorcycle punk gang that followed Ragnar, which is the Gene Simmons evil hermaphrodite.
Velvet.
Velvet, yes. Which I just have to totally agree with how awesome he was in this movie.
So
I
good.
actually had Gene Simmons in my plus column and John Stamos in my negative column.
What?
Which I can explain
Well,
when we get there.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
I just felt like you guys should know.
Fair enough.
Right now? Okay, fine. I thought what really worked for this movie, I felt like whoever made this, whoever was behind this, had a very clear direction. Like they really attacked and executed a movie that they had thought about beforehand. And even if there were holes before,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter because I feel like they just put their heads down and they just made this motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and then it came out as clear as a bell, even though it's completely absurd.
Clear, yeah.
Well,
Clear enough. I feel like
we did have to pause the movie 40 minutes in to set everyone on the same page.
we just had to make
But-
sure we were all understanding correctly.
But we were all understanding correctly.
We were. And I don't think that it was like the storytelling's fault. I think it just in execution got a little patchy in some areas because they would just drop you into a situation with like zero explanation of how you got there and why.
Yeah.
But I feel like it wasn't that hard to follow.
No, it was simple. They kept it simple enough.
Yeah.
They didn't make it too in depth. They just peppered us with some stuff.
It
that,
just was very fast paced also.
yeah.
So that probably had something to do with it as well.
They went with the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid, because Gene Simmons was on board.
Oh, okay. Of course, that makes perfect sense.
But I felt like it being fast paced actually worked in its favor. Because it never really gave you a second to be bored.
Yeah.
And so much of it was absurd.
Well, and it didn't give you a second to think about what had happened because if you did, I think you'd be lost.
Oh, I'm sure.
Instead of presenting a new simple situation for them to achieve. So I think that definitely worked in the movie's favor.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, at any point where it seemed like they might be getting in over their heads and trying to set up like a complicated James Bond plot, they just started another action scene.
Yeah.
And it kind of worked.
Yeah.
It worked in
I
the
was
way
like-
that I understand that there's people coming after John Stamos and whoever else.
I was
that
like, this is
interrupt any
choppy
scene.
storytelling, but I get it.
Yeah.
But I'm following. And I wonder if that came down to what they shot or if that came down to the edit. Because I actually thought this was edited very well, very pacey. It was an hour 30, just over an hour 30.
Flew by.
And
really did.
It flew, absolutely flew. Movie was super pacey, so I feel like the editing had a lot to do with us keeping us interested in this movie because I'm not sure if that was, the intended goal to not go as deep.
Yeah,
I kept it high level.
I'd be curious to see like what was shot versus what actually hit the cutting room floor.
I actually appreciated how ridiculous this movie was.
Oh yeah, like the. I'm going to go ahead and say the Goon Game was very strong.
Oh, it was stronger than most movies we've seen.
Absolutely. Like
I would say rivaling Samurai Cop.
up there.
Yeah.
Up there.
Up there.
But maybe not quite as good. Because, I mean, obviously, amongst Men on Fire, we always award, Goon Game very highly. They get the highest accolades.
For sure.
And this movie
Because that
just
means you're
nailed
paying
it.
Yeah, you're paying attention to the details down to the extras.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This movie was definitely great for little details. I thought they did really well.
And I mean, to tie into that, one of my other favorite pieces of casting was, I didn't get the name, but the guy playing Pyramid,
Oh my
who
God.
looked like Jake the Snake Roberts on steroids.
Yes.
That guy was awesome.
Over the top.
Yeah. Like, that's exactly what a movie like this needs. Just someone that's, like, crazy, like,
a roid
big
rage
or,
freak.
Yeah, or, like really tall or super short or, like, just something weird about them. That doesn't quite add up.
He definitely looked like a weird guy in a Super Nintendo game.
Yes. He looked like everyone in this movie fell out of Double Dragon.
Ooh, that is a great example for the goons in this game. Double Dragon.
And Gene Simmons is the last boss.
No, please go.
I actually had something to add to the whole Gymkata thing.
Oh, okay.
Shoot.
Well, let's do a little of that.
Not really even about Gymkata, but I did write down that the gymnastics in this movie were better than the ones in Fatal Games.
Okay.
In that it had any.
Yes,
And
in
that
that it existed.
I can buy that.
That's it.
All right.
Well, if I can transition a little bit from that, I thought the action scenes in this movie were far better than they had any right to be.
Yeah.
There were some really cool action scenes.
What I think aided these action scenes were like the artillery in them, like the giant guns they had all over the place.
At first, I was very displeased with John Stamos as an action hero. He was not very take charge. But by the end, I was turned around.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that was part of his character arc.
Yeah,
Kind of
when
like-
they did the super obvious, like seeing the picture
Oh
of
my
his
God.
dad and getting enraged and finally fighting back.
He
I
had
was
a-
like, all right,
He had a 3
here
second
we
character arc.
go.
3 seconds, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm a Stargrove now. They wrote a song about me, and they played it at the start of the movie. Wait, we're not in negatives yet.
Oh man, oh man,
We'll get there. We'll get there.
oh manaroni.
So, what else was there about action scenes, Eric?
There's just like such a huge variety of action scenes. We had at least like 6 or 7 good action scenes in this movie. There was an excellent car chase, far better than this movie had any right to have.
Oh yeah.
There was just like some great shootouts in like a big factory area. You know, I love that kind of thing. And they just put the effort in. You know, there's just something about the fact that some of these older action movies and like B level action movies would put the effort in and make something really fun and cool. Whereas like this would be considered a bad movie back then, and now like a bad action movie now doesn't even exist. Like
Yeah.
it would just be phoned in. We would just be like, "What is this? This is not entertaining to anybody."
It would be all CGI.
Yeah, there's no craft or effort put into it. Mm-hmm. I can appreciate that a bad movie back then just had so much to offer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, live action stunt work, explosions.
I just like the little steps that they took to make it over the top. Like when he was firing that shotgun and like yelling out the window and then just like firing it again at nothing. I was like, this is so insane. But it totally worked in its favor.
Well, I have an entire success that says this movie is absurd. I think we've kind of well covered that.
I think we nailed that one.
Yeah, I just wrote ridiculous. That sweet Never Too Young to Die song at the end.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, the you know, they said the name of the movie in the movie.
Clear success.
Clear success. We all know.
So
that.
you don't forget what movie you're watching.
A+.
I know. I need to remember because I was like, wait, what was this? And then he said it, and I was like, oh yeah,
Oh, thanks, Gene.
yeah, he said it.
Okay.
At the beginning of this movie, I was like, I don't know if I've gained or lost respect for Gene Simmons.
Well, your first problem was having respect for him to begin with.
I'm getting to that. At first, I was like, I don't know. But then as the movie went on, I was like, this is actually awesome, and he's pretty great in this role. And then I was like, wait, how much respect did I have for Gene Simmons to begin with? And then by the end of this movie, it at least tripled.
I will definitely say that I have more respect for him now.
He nailed it. Like, totally.
I mean, I can understand why. I mean, even if you don't like Kiss, you can understand there's a lot of theatricals that go into that.
Yeah.
And I mean, from what I understand, he and Paul Stanley both kind of came up with like this big, larger-than-life Kiss concept. So even if you think it sucks, which I personally do not care for Kiss, they put a lot of effort into like really building up characters and making them seem larger than life. And it makes sense that he would naturally be a pretty talented at being an actor, for especially this kind of megalomaniac style character.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
from what I understand, Gene Simmons is kind of a megalomaniac in real life.
makes
So
a lot
it
of
probably didn't take too much effort.
Yeah, no, I buy that. He definitely nailed it. All right, let's go into failures then.
John Stamos.
You think John Stamos was a failure?
He's not a good actor.
What?
I feel like we've all been laboring under this illusion for like 3 fucking decades that John Stamos is an acceptable actor.
John Stamos is talented and sexy, all right?
You know what? I feel like the older I get, the more I disagree with both of those statements.
That's a bald-faced lie.
Bald. My face is pretty bald.
I think John Stamos is a great time.
Like, I was always like, yeah, Uncle Jesse rules, obviously.
Obviously.
He's obviously a babe, but I think it's just Uncle Jesse.
You think Uncle Jesse is better than just John Stamos?
Yeah.
What do you think, Eric?
I haven't seen.
Jesse and the Rippers?
I
know what he does.
I haven't seen John Stamos in anything other than this and Full House.
That's what I'm saying.
Having such a hard time figuring out where I stand.
Like,
on
I feel
this.
like people say his name and you're like, oh yeah, John Stamos, totally. But when you really think about it and you really delve into his existence in the film world, it's like sparse.
Yeah.
But I feel like the person of he's John Stamos wherever he goes.
I mean, okay, he seems like a nice guy.
Well, he's talented.
I don't have a personal problem with him.
And he's sexy. So he's talented. That means you are thrust into movies and television because he looks good. He looks like he can dance.
What?
He's super cute.
Your criteria is all over the fucking place, buddy.
It's like you can dance.
Who doesn't want to watch John Stamos on TV?
Stamos?
Come on.
John Full Stamos. I will say I might be clouded a little bit by the fact that if I were to watch Full House, I would think that John Stamos is the only good actor on the show, if only because his character is the only charming piece of it as an adult.
Maybe, but I mean, as an adult, I don't want to talk about Full House too much here.
Why not?
I could. For
I
days.
enjoy Full House as an adult. Still,
I'm
sadly.
just saying. Like, I mean, on Full House, I think Uncle Joey's funny. He's a funny guy.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
He is. He does great impressions.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does. No one does a better Bullwinkle.
Who does a Bullwinkle? Who would bother to do a Bullwinkle?
Nobody knows who Bullwinkle is anymore.
It's true. It's a little dated.
Well, now that they're coming back with Fuller House, I'm sure he can get some up-to-date, like, SpongeBob
I'll probably
impressions in there.
I'll watch it.
Fucking moving on.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
All right, see ya.
All right, bye, guys. All right, no, okay, we're done talking about Full House, and John Stamos. So almost. So what else failed about the movie? What else failed?
Sorry, I was just looking at my notes and realized that I wrote Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy.
What?
Why?
Because Lance's friend showed up in that yellow shirt with like the green striped
Oh my
pants
God.
and the helmet, and I was like, oh my God, he looks like fucking Mermaid Man.
In my head, I was like, this guy looks like a luchador accountant.
Oh God, El Banco Loco.
Yeah, so you didn't like his like buddy character that was like his college roomie who was like the tech guy who came up with a lot of cool stuff?
He was just like the random Asian guy who would pop up every like 30 minutes with a new invention. And I just thought that was like a really played out fucking trope by 1986.
You think? No.
Yeah.
By 1986?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think Data already came and went at that point, so
that's it. Once and you're done.
one and done.
You get one guy.
One and done. You got one.
One Asian engineering friend, and like that's it.
Come up with a new shtick, Asians. It's done.
Yeah, seriously. Until the 90s, you're SOL.
Okay. Well, one thing that I had down as a kind of a failure or a success, I wasn't quite sure, but we did kind of cover it already. But it was how this movie just didn't give you a second to think about what just happened. It just moved on.
We had to pause and be like, all right.
Like, under normal circumstances, I think that's a failure. I think that's something that I'm not absorbing your movie, and I need like a little cool down second to appreciate what you did or what you're about to do.
Yeah.
But it just thrust forward and didn't give me time to hate on anything, but only time to appreciate those little things that I caught.
Yeah.
I'm sure if we watched it again, we'd catch even more amazing little things.
Probably. Yeah.
So maybe it is more of a success than a failure.
Well,
but-
because I feel like it wasn't really that convoluted to where it
No.
could be like full speed ahead and you'd be left with little to wonder about.
That's a good point.
I think to its benefit is that in the first 30 seconds of this movie, Gene Simmons basically drops a giant exposition right on top of you.
Yes.
And
In the first like 10 minutes, I actually quoted him here. They're poisoning the water supply for gold, jewels, money, and ransom.
yeah,
I understand that. I understand everything that's going on in this movie already.
and it
I was
wasn't
like, thanks, Gene.
and it wasn't boring, and it didn't take too long.
No.
It wasn't like exposition dump time where we have to explain the whole plot for 15 minutes. It was quick in, and then every so often there'd be a little obstacle to overcome, and then the end.
Yeah.
It was very simple.
And that's all
Very
structure and action.
simple.
All the structure and action movie really needs.
Yeah, and then it just needs to be action.
Yeah. Sorry, we're supposed to be in failures.
I hated the fingernail gimmick.
You didn't like the fingernail?
No, I thought it was cheesy.
Little first.
Velvet / Ragnar had like a long fingernail
Like a
knife.
middle finger.
Yeah, like fingernail knife. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
That he would like slit people's throats with, and I thought it was pretty lame.
Yeah, it wasn't
Especially
great.
because that one guy was like, "Not the finger." I was like, "This is weird."
I wish it was more. I wish it was not just a fingernail, but like a really cool like knife ring that
That'd be cool.
had like a little like talon looking thing on it, so we could like scratch and impale with it.
Maybe had like a fake hand.
I
or
wish it was like
Yeah.
a knife, like glove, like
like a sword.
like Robert Englund was in this movie for 30 seconds
For some
and
reason.
he brought it with him.
That would have been very convenient.
Oh, you know, it was really inconvenient that he popped up, and then I just started thinking about Nightmare on Elm Street for like 2.5 minutes, and I completely missed a scene transition where they like escape being hostages.
It's just this giant war scene going on. You're like, oh, sorry, I was just thinking about Robert
It's
Englund.
talking about like the detonator in the suitcase, and then all of a sudden I check back in, and our two main characters are outside, like getting shot at with assault rifles. I was like, all right, here we are.
But you know what? That's fine because you can make the mental leap. You can go, oh, they escaped. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
it's
thought it
easy.
was surprising that he was in this movie.
Yeah,
But I guess not really.
Well, I mean,
This was early in the Elm Street
it's true.
days.
But it also said like special guest star Robert
That's
Englund.
true.
Just weird when your movie has a special guest star.
Yeah,
Isn't that reserved for television shows?
You know what's weird?
That's
that
weird,
I
yeah.
never was aware that there was a movie in existence where Gene Simmons and John Stamos almost make out.
Yeah, I feel like this movie was a lot of, well, I bet you didn't know that happened.
Yeah. Never in a million years would I think that that's on film somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of my notes says, I never knew I wanted John Stamos to cock a shotgun on film until now.
Until it happened to me. No
it
idea.
Gene Simmons hurt John Stamos' ear with a toilet. We'll go into that later.
Oh my God. I have questions.
Okay, yeah, so we're all wrapped up on failures, unless, Eric, you've got one more?
I do have one last failure,
Okay,
and that
very
is
quickly.
So we've gone over good guy and bad guy music in Only the Strong.
Yeah.
This movie's bad guy music is on point.
Yes.
Excellent.
I thought you were going to say the music is so confusing.
It is. It's very confusing. And that is because as good as the bad guy music is, the good guy music is awful.
Yes.
So bad.
Baffling.
It's like super like Casio synthy, like nothing charming about it. Very like square wavy.
I felt like there were
I
whistles.
feel like it was really
Yeah.
forceful.
And like we would just get these really like we would have these giant war scenes where you expect something at least like a little like oomph, like a little
Like upbeat
Little
or like
edge.
inspiring.
yeah.
But it was
It
just,
was just like this wispy new wavy stuff.
Yeah.
Like didn't
Well,
make any sense.
there was that one scene where he became the Stargrove and he started fighting back.
That's exactly the music I'm thinking of.
Where
It
they
was
used-
so confusing.
Well, no, that was like the uplifting, inspiring music that they should have used a couple more times.
It was weird though because I felt like that music was not to be shown over someone kicking the shit out
No,
of somebody.
it's
It
like-
was supposed to be shown someone like it was supposed to be played over someone like winning a race.
That's
Yes.
exactly what
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
going to say.
like
But
like
he
Chariots
had-
of Fire.
But
getting a silver
yes.
medal. Yay.
But that's the thing is he's a gymnast.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's winning this competition. I can buy it. I buy
He's
it.
winning the competition of life.
It's true.
I don't think we established him enough as a gymnast to go to that well.
Yeah, I know.
Because we just got like that 2-minute montage clip at the beginning, which, speaking of bad music, let's talk about the Stargrove theme,
which is
Wow.
awesome.
which is an ode to our main character, Lance Stargrove, played by John Stamos. and I wrote a couple of lyrics that I'm pretty sure are wrong, but I would like to repeat them for the audience.
Oh, just like Turvy Warblers.
Please do, Eric.
Stargrove, enter to the danger zone. Stargrove, I am not a Santa Mall. Stargrove, this is not Culture Club. And that's Stargrove.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Nailed it.
All right, so that's all we have for failures.
Yeah, I think that's a wrap on failures. Brittany, you said you had some questions.
I actually, now that I'm reading it,
You have none.
I have one.
Okay, you have a question.
And
That's
it
your
was
question.
the one that I started asking, and then you paused it, and I was like, never mind. So there, Lance's dad,
Yes.
Stargrove Sr., is led to believe that there's a mole inside his police organization, and it's this agent named Carruthers, who, surprise at the end, is actually Velvet?
Yes.
Slash
Correct.
Ragnar?
Yes, slash Gene Simmons.
So I guess I can draw the conclusion that he was Carruthers the whole time.
I think he was.
But at the time, I was like, so did Carruthers ever exist?
I don't think so.
And like, did he get killed and then somebody was like pretending to be him?
Well, there was definitely a shift in the Carruthers that we noticed, because there was at one point where he was just a guy on screen, and then all of a sudden we're like, who the fuck is this major redhead?
Yeah, it was just a redheaded guy, and then he showed up all of a sudden again later, and he looked like 3 8-year-olds in a trench coat
Well, didn't
with like a fake beard glued on.
Yeah,
and then
he
he
is-
ripped the beard off, and I was like, I knew it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He had a beard go all the way up to his temples. It was so
It
weird.
really did.
I knew you were bald-faced all along.
He is a bald-faced liar.
Now, I thought he was one of the guys that had betrayed them at the very beginning.
I think he was.
Yeah,
That's what I thought as well.
right. I think that was him.
Yeah.
So I think he was always a turncoat.
He was.
Okay, because I
I think it
thought
was
I
always
saw him and like saw him be terrible, and then later he was like talking to the police and they were acting like nothing was wrong. I was like, did I like dream this whole subplot?
Yeah,
where he's a traitorous prick.
No.
I don't think anyone that had evidence that he was a traitor made it out alive.
Okay,
Exactly. Yeah. So he did that. No one figured it out, and then he kept on with his job as usual and just used that to finish his task, his mission.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
All right. Well, if there are no more questions, then let's do some favorite parts. Let's do some more favorite parts, because we did talk about some.
I had turd balls and scum buckets as a favorite part.
Yep.
My favorite part of any movie.
Yep.
When they're escaping and John Stamos walks up behind a guy and says, "Excuse me," and the guy turns around and he just blasts him with a shotgun. I thought that was pretty great.
That was good.
The whole water and fruit thing,
Oh my god.
Oh
Okay.
my God.
So
which I can't even explain.
This
so
is
please,
maybe the funniest thing we've ever seen in a movie.
Jesus, take the wheel.
this was great. So this was the kind of the foreplay before the sex scene that John Stamos had with the female
Danja?
spy named Danja.
Yep.
Eric, you look like you.
No.
All right. So
I was just going to make a crack about how it took so long. It was more like 5-play.
Yeah, okay, worth it. All right, so it was a little strange. I feel like John Stamos was like resisting this sexual advance from Danja, right?
Yeah.
And so she was laying it on thick, and very thick, and she was, like tanning and taking off her bra and covering herself in water from a hose that kept slapping her in the face. Like, very phallic imagery here. And all John Stamos kept doing was entering the house and then coming back out and, like, eating an apple.
First, it was a bottle of water.
First, it was a bottle. Yeah, it was a bottle of water. And then he would drink it, and then it was over. And then he would just keep staring. He'd go back in the house. He'd come out with an apple. And then he ate it, the whole thing.
And very aggressively.
Drop
by
the
way.
core on the ground
Drop the
right
core.
next to the empty bottle.
Went inside the house, got another apple. Came out, ate like 2 bites of it and threw it. And then just started eating her chin instead. This is the flavor I wanted. And then he laid her down in the
Several
bed.
times.
Yep.
About 10 times to my count.
Oh, so they had a penitentiary 3 fucking.
That's true. They did.
Deca slam.
Yeah.
And then we saw the moment of penetration. I believe I did.
I'm pretty sure you found it.
I believe I saw that moment. And then they had a great night together.
Yeah, they fucked to smooth Chinese restaurant jazz.
That's true.
Yeah, that's really.
They did that. Yeah, it changed really quick. Like the foreplay mood was so much different than the execution.
Yeah.
That's what you call it, right? Foreplay and execution.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
I thought so. That was definitely a favorite part. Like I was in awe.
We were all just looking at each other like, what is he
We were
doing?
like, please let him just have a pile. Well, because I joked after the bottle of water.
Yeah.
I was like, I hope he just, like, they cut to a scene, it's just 10 empty bottles of water. But they did us one better.
Yeah, they honestly unpredictable. Like I was just like, please this, and then what I thought of wasn't even as good as what happened. Pretty much most of the movie.
I can't believe they graced us with that.
Yeah.
Oh, so wonderful.
I didn't think the movie would get that ridiculous, and I'm so glad that it did.
I am too. Any more favorite parts?
The entire end.
Yes. I want to say very quickly that the very end of this movie has what every kid would ever want to be their ending to a movie, and that is ride off on a dune buggy into the sunset.
After circling thrice.
After really making a spectacle that you're in a dune buggy.
Well, I meant the end more with, like, the suitcase.
Okay.
And
John Stamos and Gene Simmons fighting on a dam.
yeah. Fighting on a dam to
Keep radioactive waste from entering the city water supply.
looking for. Not the deactivate, I guess.
Diffuse.
Diffuse, yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Thank you. Looking to defuse the suitcase bomb thing that's going to pollute the water supply. And so they're duking it out. And then finally, John Stamos stabs Velvet in the throat with her own nail and tries to deactivate the detonator. And that fails. So Danja throws him a fucking rocket launcher from a helicopter.
Well, this is not just any rocket launcher.
It's the one his Asian friend built.
Of course.
Was
This is
it
a
Cliff?
laser flamethrower grenade launcher.
What's his
Yeah.
name? Cliff?
Cliff, yes.
A laser grenade launcher flamethrower, but
Yep.
really it was just a
It just sucked.
rocket launcher. Yeah, it just sucked.
It works
never
half
worked.
the time.
So she threw that to him. It obviously didn't work. And he aimed it at the suitcase and nothing happened. So then he just decides to grab the suitcase, throw it over the edge of the dam, grab the gun, throw that over the edge of the dam. The two collide mid-air and explode
Directions.
from different directions with like a 4-second gap between when they were thrown. And it explodes and the movie has a happy ending now.
Yeah, like it was so off of actual physics, like it hurt.
Like, I have to think, did they have a different ending intended? And then that was what they had to go with?
I don't know if that were the
Because
case.
I feel like for someone to write that ending is appalling.
I mean, if that were the case, then why wouldn't they just edit around the fact that the gun sucked and missed the case? Why wouldn't they just edit it so that the gun worked and he blew up the suitcase?
I don't.
Good question.
So
Like,
that was
this
fully
movie's
intended.
absurd, but it's never like that absurd.
It's never like breaking the laws of physics.
Yeah.
They saved that treat for the very end.
It's true. No, that definitely jaw dropping. That was a rewind and rewatch moment.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of those, I think,
Completely appalling.
but a favorite part nonetheless.
Completely appalling.
Favorite part though. You know what? It kind of looked like it was kind of had the same treatment as the last match with the punt going into the helicopter. It just looked the same.
It looked like it was framed the exact way.
I
Yeah.
thought you were going to say
What was?
something about Under Siege 2.
Why would I ever?
Steven Seagal running against a green screen.
We're going to cover that for the podcast at some point, I hope.
I'd love to watch Under Siege 2 for this.
Okay, great.
Any other favorite parts?
That is about it for me.
I mean, we did cover a lot of the successes are favorite parts.
For sure.
Like they are
It's like Gene Simmons.
they go hand in hand. John Stamos is one of my favorite parts of this movie, personally, and I know he was brought up during failures, but I thought like what
Well,
kind
you
of,
missed your chance.
what kind of
About his
this is my chance right now. Not a success, but he's a favorite.
He's a final thought.
No, we're not on final thoughts yet because we haven't even rated. But what do you think would have happened to John Stamos' career had he not done Full House? Do you think he would have gone on this path of doing like sexual action movies? Do you think he would have wound up?
No, he would still be in Granddads on CBS
Well, that's a fine end game.
or whatever channel it's on.
Yeah, I don't know, Fox probably. But no, I mean, do you think he could have like grown into that role a bit more if he had given more time to it?
I think so. He's certainly competent in the action scenes in this, regardless of how many times he has a stunt double behind him. But I mean,
well, who doesn't?
When he's pointing a gun or he's shooting or he's doing something sort of actiony, he looks the part.
Yeah.
I don't think this character was written very well for him. I don't feel like this character is in his voice.
Yeah.
This character lacks like a certain natural confidence. He seems like he's faking it the entire time, if that makes sense, and that's not what I expect out of a John Stamos character. I expect someone that's kind of cocksure from the start.
True.
You know?
Agreed.
And smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This character, I'm trying to think who would be more appropriate for this character.
He kind of seems like he's more of a high school kid
Yeah,
than like a college student.
for sure.
Interesting.
Something doesn't sit right in it. And I feel like an older character for John Stamos would have made more sense. I don't buy him as a college student.
Yeah. Maybe if they had scrapped the whole gymnast thing because they didn't use it at all,
It was barely used, yeah.
they could have just made him some like out of college work bum,
Yeah, that could have worked.
and then you know he could have been like a lazy guy turning him around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Could do
maybe. Nonetheless, I still enjoyed it.
We could do that when we remake this movie,
Yeah.
starring Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
My God, I was just going to say that.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson is a gymnast in college. Pitch that one to the
And it
studios.
still wouldn't be the most absurd thing in the remake of this movie.
That's very true.
Oh, let's get Tommy Wiseau down here.
All right, let's
Tommy Wiseau
The,
as Ragnar.
yes.
That's what Ragnar. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you're turning me apart.
All right, let's rate it. So let's rate it then.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with.
Yeah,
fuck
I'm gonna
you.
have to give it an unfortunate fuck off.
Oh my God, my fucking father.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
All right, guys, let's rate this movie. Never Too Young to Die, 1986. Guys, let's rate it. Who wants to start?
I'm gonna give it an unabashed fuck yeah.
Yeah, a birthday rating from Erik.
This movie delivered on everything I wanted it to. I saw the cast list and I said, boy, I wonder what would happen if that happened. And then it happened. I thought the casting was original and interesting. I never would have expected to see this movie, and I'm glad it turned out as weird as it did. I kind of wonder if the weirdness was intentional or if
So
it just sort of
weird.
happened. And that this is just a perfect example of how everything can go right and wrong at the same time and make for an excellent B-movie experience. Like, this is what I tune into a B-movie for.
Yeah.
Just for
Agreed.
something that would not get a full-fledged budget and doesn't feature A-list actors, but is entertaining nonetheless, because sometimes there are stories that can be told without $1 million budget. Well, more than $1 million, I guess, these days. That seems a little low.
That's true. That's like an indie.
Yeah, but like with a lower budget movie can give us something kind of unique and interesting like this. It's not necessarily good, but it's certainly entertaining.
Yeah.
And I think B-movie connoisseurs would all appreciate this.
I think so too. I think it hit the right era for this movie to be made, and I thought all of that contributed to why it was so good, which is why I'm going to give it a fuck yeah as well. There was one point in this movie where John Stamos, this was brought up earlier, was looking out the window. He says, "My name's not Scumbag, it's Stargrove, Lance Stargrove," and then he cocks and shoots his shotgun. And at that point, I screamed in the room, "Fuck yes!" and I'll actually, from the rest of the movie, upgrade that to a fuck yeah. And it was an absolute blast. And I think I don't even think I gave Gymkata a fuck yeah, but
Yeah, I feel like we were disappointed by Gymkata in some ways.
This was way more fun than Gymkata was.
it was so much different, you know. And I don't know, maybe the fact that it did have these people who were famous to us, in it.
But they're not A-list famous.
Not-
They're famous for things that aren't movies, you know?
Exactly. And the fact that this was made before those things, before John Stamos was John Stamos, right? So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe knowing that made us like it a little more.
It's like we're seeing an alternate universe movie.
Yeah. And, I had a great time. I'd definitely watch it again. I'd try and get a copy of this, for sure.
Excellent. Yeah, unfortunately, we were forced to watch this on YouTube because that's where we could find it.
Yeah.
So the quality was not great, but we won't knock the movie for that. It's not its
No,
fault.
exactly. I definitely want to.
We should try to find it
Invest.
in better quality.
I will invest. Brittany, what do you give it?
I honestly expected to hate this movie for obvious reasons and expected to give it no more than like a fucking fine. I was going to give it a fuck yes, as you had said, but I also upgraded it to a fuck yeah because it was just pure absurdity. And I enjoyed every second of it. And like you said, it did everything wrong, right? It took everything that it needed to take too far. It was just very pleasing. It was a pleasant surprise. And yeah, it was weird, like nobody knew any of those things existed on film type of experience.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if this movie even had... I mean, I know nothing about the existence of this movie, so I have no idea what impact it made when it came out. If it even was anything, because, I mean, Gene Simmons was still popular, right? Kiss was still a thing.
Yeah. Mid-'80s, yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah, I mean...
I don't think they were past their prime by that point. I don't think that happened until the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say John Stamos was the only one who wasn't famous in it yet. I mean, Robert Englund was famous, George Lazenby all at this point.
Yeah, so I think even the girl who played Danja, I think she was like a thing. Oh. I forget what her name was. It was like a one-name namer, you know.
Yes.
Victory, I think.
That's how you know they're famous.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, final thoughts?
I would recommend this movie to anyone who likes bad movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm genuinely surprised. Like you said, never heard of this movie.
Yeah.
I would expect this to have like a huge like a cult following. Like this is bad on a level that doesn't usually happen.
Yeah.
You know? It seems like a rare gem, and no one's talking about it unless I'm just looking in the wrong place. Vanity, that's it.
That's true. Maybe we are looking. I mean, yeah, because I mean, this is totally slipped under my radar, and that's what I love about just being movies. They're just endless. Oh yeah, it's fucking so vast.
You're never gonna run out of bad movies.
Never. You're never.
Somebody's always making a movie that wasn't the one.
Yeah, and it's just so deep. And every day you'll find something new and fresh.
I feel like way more movies get brushed under the rug than are successful. And that means we'll be here forever.
You can pick up these movies and you can watch them and you get to have like your own fresh opinion on it. Like these movies just exist in a vacuum for the most part.
Yes.
Because so like we don't have any like our opinions of them aren't painted by any kind of outside stimuli or like references that are made in, you know, TV shows or whatever. You know, I've never seen Goodfellas, for example. Well, not Goodfellas, The Godfather.
Yes.
I've never seen The Godfather. I know enough about The Godfather just from living. You know,
from like, breathing on the earth.
Exactly. So I'm gonna have like an opinion on it, going right in where I'm like, okay, that's the guy that looks like this, and so I know something about it. Like this movie is just a complete blank spot. No one's ever talked about it in my presence. So, you know, you get to have that fun of exploring something that seems unexplored.
Yes,
and that's why we do this.
Well summarized. Good work.
The guy who directed this directed a movie called Night Vision. And it's about a investigator who goes after a media-obsessed serial murderer who videotapes his victims' deaths.
I love movies where serial killers tape the deaths.
Do you?
I do.
We should probably watch that, though.
Okay.
Anyone good enough? Who's on our cast list for this?
Cynthia Rothrock.
Oh, we're watching it.
Oh, shit.
I've been meaning to get a Cynthia Rothrock on this.
Fred Williamson, who is super familiar looking, but I actually don't remember anything he's been in.
Okay.
From Dusk Till Dawn. Okay. Yeah, food for thought.
Okay.
All right, write that one on the list because that sounds great.
Yeah.
And I've been meaning to get Cynthia Rothrock on the show at some point.
Really?
Yeah. Give her a call and see if she'll come on.
Oh, no, excellent. Yeah. I'm sure she's not doing anything right now.
Yeah, I'm sure she's not busy. All right, so that's it, right?
That's everything.
All right. You've been listening to Second Class Cinema. If you'd like more information, head on over to Facebook, facebook.com/secondclasscinema. If you'd like to listen to our show, you can start wherever you're listening to us right now. We're also on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, secondclasscinema.com, and followingfilms.com. Don't forget to rate and subscribe to us on iTunes. That would be awesome.
Yeah, do that.
So we'd really appreciate that.
Subscribe.
That was great. And I think that's it. We're done. We're over. Good night.
We're over.
We're done.
Good night, and I love you.
All right, I love you too.